not 3.0, 0.3. Let me make that very clear. We're still in the beta stages, but we are getting some news, some 0.3 news. What is the release date for Act 3.3? I'm saying Act, fucking patch. I ain't even come to prepared, y'all. I'm coming into this shit fucking freestyling, so hopefully I'll enjoy it. August 29th. So it's a countdown to August 29th, which we're already in August. So we just need about 27 more days, roughly. And we're gonna be right back at it because I ain't gonna lie, there's kind of a little bit of a drought that's going on right now. I know I definitely fell off a little bit. I I I came near like the end of 0.1. I think it was like 1.5 or something. So I was getting into 2.0, so 2.0 was really like my introduction into Path of Exile 2, realistically, like the one that I really buried a lot of time with. Actually, no, let me not say that, because I have a 84 monk. Yeah, I have like an 84, 85 monk, so yeah, look, I definitely played the shit out of Act 1. But yeah, I mean, like it wasn't too much drastic changes. I know a lot of the fiends know more about like the real patch notes that affected a lot of the skills. I know a couple of them were really affected. I know right now Tempest Bell is not in the same space that it used to be. Um, but I just know Act 2.0 has kind of been not beloved by the community so far. Uh, Matter of fact, let's go ahead and take a look at what Act 2.0 really brought in, right? Sorry, I'm looking this up real quick. I'm putting 0.02 like it's an IP address. Oh my god. Um, Path of Exile 2. Okay, so the patch notes preview. Let's see what they. Oh, that. Why does it have the old Path of Exile logo? Don't do that to me. Uh. Okay, so this is the patch notes, right? So. You, oh, so it allowed you to respec your ascendancy classes. Let me go ahead and. Is there anything that I need to worry about? Not necessarily. Alright. Let's go ahead and show y'all this real quick. So, it was a redoing of the Ascendancy trials, now allows you to respec which Ascendancy class you have chosen at the Ascension device, but only if the trial would grant you the number of points you already have. So it allowed you to respec your classes, which I honestly didn't even know about that, so that's pretty cool. I know in Path of Exile 1 it was kind of like you're up and you're stuck, so it's good to know that you could at least change your classes in order to respec your ascendancy. Oh, it's respecing it, not like changing the actual class, but respecing it. You must have 0 points allocated in it, but you can now talk to Balbala or yeah, Trial of Chaos. Oh, it allowed you to add them to the hideout. That's pretty cool. The Trials of Chaos that have 7 chambers and thus grant up to 4 Ascendancy passive skill points now can be attempted from level 55 down from 60. Okay, so they brought down the actual level requirement to do those Trials of Chaos. Trials of Chaos that have 10 chambers and thus grant up to 6 Ascendancy passive skill points can now be attempted. Damn, 10 fucking chambers? 10 fucking I'll jump off a fucking cliff. No, hell no. I already hate them shits as much. Wait, is that Trials of Chaos is the one that requires honor? I believe. I think it's the one that requires honor. Charm changes. Belts level 30 and above now have implicit modifiers with 1 to 2 charm slots, while belts level 60 and above now implicit modifiers with 1 to 3 charm slots, so an increase in charm slots. This only affects new belts found after this patch have been deployed. Okay, cool. The explicit modifiers for additional charm slots can no longer roll. Ooh, really? That's an interesting takeaway from that. I'm just kind of skimming through to see if there's anything that's crazy. Massively increase the values of the prefixes that restore life mana or grant guard when charms are used. You can update existing items to. Oh, okay. Okay. All charms but the golden charm have had their maximum charges halved. Okay, so that was mostly charges. New stash tabs, so they added the Soctables, Fragments, Breach, Expedition Ritual, Atlas bookmarks. Added the ability to bookmark locations on your oh, that's awesome. I'm not even gonna lie, that's so helpful. I do use that a little bit. Right-clicking a node will allow you to create a bookmark by picking an icon and optionally adding a label you can type in. You can have up to 16 bookmarks at a time. They will appear as icons around the outside of the screen with a direction allowing you to scroll to them easily, or you can click on them to instantly take you there. That's sick. So it's kind of like a fast travel on the Atlas map itself. That's cool. End game changes. Pinnacle bosses now have unlimited respawn attempts at difficulty 0, so that's only tier 0, essentially. Tower and hideout maps now have a higher minimum number of rare monsters that can spawn. The final rare monster defeated in tower and hideout maps will now drop a map of the same tier you are running as long as you have enough waystone chance. Oh, okay. Defeating the final rare monster in tower maps is still not required to complete a tower map. So at least you're guaranteed a map of the same tier, so it's kind of like you're not wasting it. Um, and then it added a UI to find rare and uniques. Crafting changes. As each new rune tier is unlocked, we are removing the lower runes from the drop pool. This is to stop you getting spam. Oh, that's nice. Great quality of life right there, because I'm not even gonna lie, like at some point you're gonna start realizing that anything under great runes, it means nothing. But even though the increases is mostly like +2, +3, depending on the higher tier of runes, like you get like purple runes at some point. Um, yeah, those are what you're fishing for, and if you start dropping regular ones, you're gonna start filling up space for no reason, because we all know um, us Path of Exile players are natural born hoarders, so um, unless you stop picking it up, but let's see. Either way, they stopped you from getting spammed by it, so that's cool. Lesser runes no longer drop past 31. Medium runes no longer drop past 52. Oh. Overall, past level 52, you will now drop more greater runes than currently, but lesser runes and runes will no longer drop. Okay, that's cool. Rogue Exiles will always have the appropriate tier runes socketed into dropped items relative to their item levels. That's okay. Scepters can now have sockets, and we've added a new set of talisman modifiers for scepters to allow upgrades to your minions mid to late game. That's really good. That makes me want to play a minion build now, because if you could add sockets and stuff, because I didn't know that. I didn't know you can add sockets to a scepter. If that was the case, that kind of hinders playing scepters, because runes matter a lot, because attributes matter a lot. So not being able to have at least two, or maybe I don't know how many the crossbow gives you, but I think it's like 2 or 4. Not having those extra slots is really hindering your build from building technically, and you're gonna have to be very crucial with your attributes. But at least you have some sockets, you know. Totem changes. All totem skills now start gaining elemental resistances and chaos resistances, scaling up with skill level from around gem level 13. At gem level 20, they have a 75% to all elemental resistances and 35% to chaos resistances, so they could last a little bit longer. I could imagine they were probably a little bit like squishy at some point, but just allowing them to have some type of elemental resistance, that's pretty bomb, especially for higher tier maps. Ironwood support now also grants totems summoned by supported skills plus 10% to all maximum elemental resistance. Oh, so a support gem gives you extra. Okay, cool. Light stun changes. Moderately reduce the capacity for monsters to light stun you, especially towards cruel and endgame, by lowering the amount of stun damage they deal and increasing the minimum they must deal to light stun you. Additionally, elemental chaos and range stun damage has been penalized even further, so you're less likely to get stunned by random stray projectiles and other things of the sort. These changes don't affect light stuns dealt by players. Okay, so PvP isn't affected, but um, oh, there we go. It just basically just means that you're not gonna get winded as quickly. You're not gonna get poised as quick. So that's great. Added a cluster to the passive skill tree near Chaos Inculation that allows you to invest into a heavy amount of stun and ailment threshold based on your energy shield. We will be adding more stun mitigation later. Okay, okay, that's cool. So they added an extra cluster to help you out with stun. I could imagine stun was probably like a big issue for a lot of melee players or physical damage players who have to be up close and personal. So it gives y'all a chance to kind of fight back now. Player changes, anything crazy? Shard Scavenger. Stormlance is now able to be supported by ground. Ooh, okay. Okay, that helps Stormlance a lot because it helps out its area of effect. Fire exposure and lightning exposure supports have their wording adjusted to make clear their effects apply to any target, not just enemies. This is not a functional change, it's a clarification of wording. Okay, cool. Thank you for being more precise. Alright. And then these are the bug fixes right here. So I think these are the big ones right here. So monster changes. Some endgame monsters can no longer interrupt their attacks if you move too far out of range during the attack to relentlessly chase you. Oh, nice. Nice. Awesome. You hate when you're playing against a fucking Tekken player, bro. And just interrupt, cancel, interrupt, backwards, dodge. So yeah, that's cool. They have to go through with the attack, so at least you have some type of head start. Zakharov the Temporal no longer aggressively targets player minions if any are present. Um, can't remember him off the top of their head. There's like a billion and one fucking monsters in this game, but apparently he can't aggressively target you anymore. The Immured Fury is now less likely to target minions, and their ground effect should now more reliably be removed after death. Okay. It is now less likely to target me. Oh, okay, so minions are kind of, they're allowed to survive longer because I could think that minions are pretty squishy. Oh, I remember the Putrid Wolf. I know exactly what the 180-degree cleave skill is. It used to feel like to prevent them using the skill multiple times sequentially. Yeah, that was the problem. I do remember that. It felt like he spammed it often. I did like his boss battle because he was also the one that like shrouded you in smoke, and then a whole bunch of wolves kind of like try to attack you, and he pops out of the fucking smoke. All types of like it's almost like a ultimate ninja storm, uh, end scene or fucking super move. So yeah, that shit was sick. I actually like him as a boss. He's one of my favorite. The composition of monster packs in Chiquani Sanctum have been adjusted to reduce the amount of range skills being hurled. Thank you so much because it seems like sometimes the thing is flooded. I put on the AC in the room. I'm bad. I'm a girl. But anyways, and then it reduced and adjusted some damage. You can see it right here. I'm gonna make sure that y'all can see that. But it adjusted and removed some damage. I think the Stone Sentinel reduced the damage of the essence of the infinite monster modifier. Okay. Lowered the damage of Vol Enforcer to be more appropriate for how many times they hit. Lowered the damage of Reconstructor Lightning Burst skill. Slightly reduced the damage of Ravenous Misshapen Arc skill. Okay, that's cool. A little bit of quality of life changes for those. And then a whole bunch of bug changes. I know a couple of them are probably affecting you. I'm trying to see if there's anything that I remember personally. Damn, they really hit a lot. Shout out to Grinding Gear for really putting in some work. We're gaining 1% of their evasion rating as armor at all times. This also fixes a bug where the Iron Reflex's Keystone passive skill and General's Binding notable passive skills were not providing the correct amount of armor. Interesting. Okay, so that's really good because if it was miscalculating because attributes and that type of scaling is already weird, don't make it more weird by not having the right calculations. That's perfect. And yeah, that was basically what 2.0 gave us. A lot of dope changes, a lot of fixes, but again, it's a lot of boring shit too. Um, yeah, a lot of decent changes, you know what I mean? Index code, events, a lot of good changes. Sorry, I'm just going backwards to make sure that there wasn't anything else that I needed to read. But anyways, I say that all to say Path of Exile 2 0.02 update, or I keep saying 0.02, 0.2 update was mostly just a hot fix. It was just like a big ass hot fix to fix a lot of things that people noticed from the very first update of 0.1. There was a lot of things that I even noticed. It felt like a completely different game, and I feel like 2.0 kind of rounded it out and brought it back to baseline Path of Exile 2. I mean, Path of Exile gameplay. You know what I mean? It's still, it's still a big gap of what we need, but, you know, I wasn't truly expecting any like mind-boggling things to happen during 0.2 because it's still early in the game. It's not like they're gonna introduce another like quick seasonal mechanic or like any major changes to the gameplay. Um, Especially not adding another act. I think they was gonna let us sit with another act for sit without another act for a little bit. I don't know if they're building them in real time, but um, I think it's a good way to test the waters of how people are going to interact with the overall environment and scope of the game because that's very important. So giving it to us in bite-sized pieces allow us to fix the mistakes of each individual act rather than group them all up in a whole and have them be missed overall because there's going to be just like a long list of problems. So I think this beta is really good, or early access essentially. Um, So now the question is, what are we expecting from 3.0? Since 2.0, 2, 0.2 was mostly about fixing issues and, balancing criteria. What are we expecting from 0.3? Because it's definitely hyped to be a pretty big update from at least what we've been hearing about. I be calling him Alaska dude. I be forgetting his name. I'm sorry, but he's a goat when it comes to Path of Exile 2. Definitely go follow him. I'll try to put his name somewhere, but um, yeah, he went and essentially like visited the headquarters for Grinding Gear. The way he described it was super sick too. Essentially, it was like super laid back. He said like the perfect wording he said was it was like a LAN party, which I could imagine is just a whole bunch of like homies just chilling together and just like running off ideas, kind of like in a fucking clubhouse aesthetic type shit. Um, and it's just like open, like everybody interacts with each other, everybody plays the game too. That's a big thing that they tried to highlight was like uh, people ain't just like creating assets for something that they don't know about or like don't truly know what they're building. They're just doing it as a job. Nah, these people are straight up like they actually enjoy the game, and I'm glad Grinding Gear selects, you know, those type of people for their staff because you would want people passionate about the project. They should be excited to want to work on these projects, you know what I mean? When it comes to, just general designers that don't give a fuck about like the project that they're not project that they're working on, but the source material, then you're just kind of getting work with no soul, you know? So it's good that they have the interaction and the engagement to their product from, uh, the workers over there at Grinding Gear because you could really see the passion in every frame of this game. So kudos to them. But beyond just like, all of that, um, Alaska Dude did say that apparently 0.3 is going to bring some massive changes. And it's going to probably be the biggest expansion we're going to see from this game. It's almost it's almost guaranteed that Act 4 is probably going to be in it, right? Right? Like it's hinted too much. We've been getting too many like little sporadic things about it being like tribal and um just, just that whole aesthetic. Um, and then also it's just like we already been sitting through two separate updates without some type of story change. Just like how many times do you expect us to play the same three chapters and then not only that, play it twice in one playthrough because you give us cruel difficulty, which is not a major difference besides difficulty. Um, it'll at least help clear the palette a little bit for when you drop the full act, like full 10 acts. So, um, I'm excited over seeing a new act because honestly, the first three was great. I think the final battle with Doriani is one of the best choreographed battles in all of Path of Exile and probably ARPGs, including like Diablo, you know. It was I loved it. Like him turning into a robot and all that extra shit was super sick. I really loved. I think it was Act Two? Yeah, I think it was Act Two, where you're essentially running through the city, and no, it's Act Three. I think it was Act Three because you go back in time and then you fight the girl. You fight the female warrior where like she has all of her soldiers lined up across from you like this. You feel me? And they're like part of the battle too, but it's really a 1v1 and all of her soldiers are watching and then at some point they start throwing spears and shit at you. That's another dope ass interaction. Like it really felt theatric as fuck. So I'm just excited what they can do with like the whole tribal aesthetic. Um, I don't want to be disrespectful. I don't really know that much about tribal. I know the aesthetic of tribal, you know, the tattoos, all of that shit. Kind of like Hawaiian kind of aesthetic and shit too. Very native in nature, like things of that. But either way, you know, they have a extremely creative mind, so I would love to see what they bring to the table, you know, and then they already teased a whole bunch of new enemies that's gonna start popping out as well. So give me 1 second. I just want to put on that AC. It's fucking hot as shit. Give me 1 second. All right, we're back. So yeah, what was I gonna into? Oh yeah, Act 4. So, you know, um, I would love to see where they leave us off at again until they drop Act 5 or maybe Act 5 and 6. That would be super sick if they drop like a double expansion, a dual feature film. Um, but either way, I mean, they're gonna always continuously let us eat. Are we gonna get another seasonal mechanic? So, I want to see what current ones are in the game as of right now. Or like I'm looking that up right now. Yeah, I'll give me 1 second. What is that one called? Oh my god. Blight. No, that's not what I want. They're giving me a fucking skill gem. League mechanics. That's what it is, league mechanics. That's not what I'm looking for. Essence, Strongboxes, Shrines, Ritual, Delirium. Ritual, Delirium, Shrine, Strongboxes, and Essences. So we're still missing heists. Path of Exile 1. League mechanics. We're missing a couple. I don't think they have Delve yet, which Delve was fun. I think Delve was when the fucking crystals was come up and you would need to like bring the dude to mine it and um it took a while, I remember that. And then you could go through the actual mines and shit, like it was its own type of map, like it was an endless map. Heists, of course, incursions. I think mercenaries are probably in the game already, if I'm not mistaken. Um, Ultimatums, I don't think that's in the game. Bestiary is definitely not in the game. I would love for Bestiary to come back because it was a great way to farm flasks and shit, or just like really, really good items. Betrayal, I can't remember Betrayal too well. Where is it? Oh, it's the 3 encounters at the Immortal Syndicate. Um, yeah, that was pretty sick. I remember that. I know Delirium is in there right now. Mercenaries, like I said, was sick. Rampage is sick. Sentinel. So there's a couple of things like Settlers is also cool. I don't know why they took away Settlers because it kind of gave you something to do in between maps. So that way it doesn't feel like all you're doing is mapping. Like there is side things that you could be doing, and I feel like the King's March expansion um really nailed it on the head. And then it was a great way to get weapons and random ass gold tier weapons and shit. Like it was crazy. Especially if you could, the whole mechanic was you're farming and mining the material and you're hiring workers to get more of the material, and then you're shipping that off to different countries in order to get back like trade items. And I'm not even gonna lie, I got some crazy shit from there, bro. Um, I got some absolutely mental shit off of that, but they didn't add that yet. So, I mean, I don't know if they would introduce another mechanic. I mean, the most less labor intensive one would probably have to be like, I'm not even too sure. Like, I mean, they could add like Tempest and stuff. I don't think anybody's really asking for Tempest. Harvest is pretty sick. I mean, all they would really need to do is build like a little pocket dimension that you could portal to. Because Harvest was a way to get like their own version of the currency. Um, and it was just a fun way. Like you kind of picked which plant you wanted to harvest, and depending on the plant, that's the enemies that you would get. It was pretty sick. They could add that too. I feel like it's not too crazy. I think Delve would be too big. We already got Breach, Anarchy, Rogue Exiles. Rogue Exiles are unique monsters with player skin. Oh, we already have that. Ambush, that's strong boxes. Affliction. Oh, I remember the Wildwoods. Those are sick. I think the Abyss. I remember the Abyss as well. They could probably add Abyss. What I really want, I mean, the only time I'm really gonna get excited is when they add Heist back. I loved Heist, so that would be super cool. Um, I mean, another thing that I'm really looking forward to in this patch is kind of increasing the game speed just a slight tad. It feels like, because right now my, what is it called? My mercenary has about, I don't know, I know the boots have about 35% increased movement speed. I know I also have general movement speed off of my skill tree, and it still feels like this dude is slow to a crawl. Um, I would hope that they could bring back like movement skill gems and stuff, because right now, Blink is probably the only one that you can genuinely use, and it doesn't even feel good to use. I miss Flame Dash. I miss there was a Shock one as well. Either way, it was just super super fun to use. I do like the dodge. I think the dodge is sick, but um, one second. Yeah, I think the dodge. Oh, yeah, I think the dodge is sick. I just think that you need some other way or form of running around, or like just speeding up the gameplay just a slight tad. Um, Another thing that I really want to see from it is an increase in loot drops. Cause Jesus Christ, man, it feels like they're rationing out here. Like, I don't know, maybe all my luck went away when I played on my monk, cause my monk was like flooding with divines. Like I had so many fucking divines out the wazoo. Um, and I never felt like I was running out. And then when I got to my mercenary, I still have not gotten like a divine. I think I'm up to like tier 7 maps as well. And I juiced the shit out of my maps. Don't get me wrong. I've died more on maps than probably overall in the game. Like on these lower tier maps as well. And I'm not getting nothing. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but I think an increase in just like overall just higher grade stuff. Like you could still make it sparse, but like don't make it so that I go through like 10 different maps and genuinely nothing drops. Like not even good rolled weapons is sick. Yeah. Of course, I would love to see an overhaul of like new uniques and stuff. Um, I like the uniques that we got right now, but I feel like it's a repeat of Path of Exile's one chase uniques, like the Headhunter and shit. So I mean, just adding more variety to it is never a bad thing. Uh, I also like the little events that they're hosting too. I wanted to try the new one that just dropped. I can't remember. I think it was like a solo self-found hardcore league. It's a gauntlet. That's what I was trying to remember. Um, but yeah, running the gauntlet, like I probably run that as well. I don't really want to play anything on Path of Exile right now because I feel like any type of effort I put into any character at this point is going to be null and void by the time the next act comes out. So I think I'm satisfied on my mercenary. We're gonna decide on if we're gonna continue with the Huntress and allow the Huntress to be um, the star of the show for Act 0.3. I do want to do more characters, so I might be running a side-by-side Witch because I also promised Witch as well. Because if Act 0.3 is as big as they intended to be, then we should have a surplus of content to go through without it be feeling repeated. So I'm super excited for 0.3. Uh, I think Grinding Gear as a whole is a company that you could definitely put your faith in. There definitely was some roadblocks, but it was never like they didn't acknowledge it or they tried to like sweep it under the rug and just hope that people would forget. No, like they are actively listening to their community and seeking resolutions and changes for the issues that people are having because that's the whole point of early access is to, you know, buff out the nicks and dinges from the start and then have a brand new product once it well not brand new but like a polished product by the time it's ready for full-fledged access, so um they're on the right path. They're always active in the community. I know they're interacting with a lot of content creators. I would love for at some point to also be able to like do some type of little interview or something like that, but um I think I'm excited for the future of this game, and they're definitely building it up to be something that um, can fill the place in your heart that Path of Exile 1 did, and that's all you could really ask for. They're definitely going in a whole different direction, but they're understanding that some things just don't work with its community. They are still trying the changes, but they're also listening when it genuinely just doesn't work with us. So I don't mind them trying new things. I don't mind them playing around with stuff because I know that if we really don't fuck with it, it will be gone by the next expansion. So, sorry, my lips is like dry as fuck right now, so. It's shitty. Don't you just hate when you have nose hairs and it just like tickles the shit out of your inside of your nose and you feel like sneezing every 30 seconds? Or is it just me? Oh man, but yeah, like I said, August 29th, we in that. Any more news that pops out, I'll definitely be letting y'all know about that. And yeah, and keep staying tuned. What I wanted to do, we might hop back on Path of Exile again because it's early. I'm planning on streaming for a while, so um, I'm gonna hop on Need for Speed Underground.